Good morning. You're listening to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is Jay Smith, who's president with the FEI Group, also known as Floor Expo. Jay, how you doing?
I'm great this morning. How are you, Kemp?
I'm well. We're together a couple weeks ago in Dallas at the Carpet One Flooring America show. A lot of people know that Floor Expo is affiliated with the CCA Global Group. Jay, before we start talking about the market conditions, why don't you tell listeners just a little background on Floor Expo?
Sure. Well, Floor Expo has been around about 16 years now. We have two divisions. We have Home Solutions by Floor Expo, which are the top flooring contractors who specialize in the builder segment all around the country, putting the floors in about 1 out of every 4 new stick-built homes. And then on the other side, we have the Multifamily Solutions Group, who are the big premier specialists in apartment relay business, and more, I might add, apartment new construction, since that's been fairly lively the last few years. And we got a great group of members, and I think it's fairly acknowledged out there in the industry that they are the who's who and the biggest, finest players in the industry, and that's who we are.
We rode together on the same plane coming back, and we were talking, we heard the same thing, that 2014 has been somewhat of a lackluster year, that most of the players you talk to are a little disappointed that 14 has been softer than we had anticipated, right?
Yeah, that's what you hear. Out of the national players, the manufacturers who obviously sell and distribute nationally, and folks with national exposure, I think fairly consistently would agree that the first half was a little under where we hoped. Certainly from a retail standpoint, and on the builder side a little bit as well. Not quite what the forecast had called for. We thought it was that rough early winter, but we didn't quite have the spring that we had hoped for. But still, most of our guys, Kemp, are pretty solidly happy with the trend. And certain pockets, certain cities, it's red hot.
All right, so let's talk, and let's focus, since you cover two areas, let's focus on the new home builder side of the business.
Okay.
What do you think's holding that back this year, even after we get through all of that first quarter weather?
Yeah, a few things come to mind. First of all, the recovery, we believe, is underway. It's just not quite as fast or robust as we had forecasted in some places. But I think if you look at it out, we did have a dramatic increase in prices. They went up really, really fast. They're up over 40% from the low in 2011. So there has been a price run up. One of the things that this is a personal feeling, is that we have to do something to get that first-time home buyer back in the game, Kemp. I mean, if we look at it now, first-time home buyers were historically roughly 25, 28% of the market if you go back to the early part of the last decade. But if you look at it now, that's tracking 15, 16%. So we've got to get that first-time home buyer back in the space, and we've got to do that with a price, with a square footage that they can afford, and most importantly, is we got to be able to get them a mortgage. So those are some things that come to mind for us.
Yeah. You're feeding right into an editorial I wrote in this issue that's in the mail right now, the August-September issue of Floor Focus. One of the things we're up against that's not housing related is the fact that this millennium generation, they have more student debt coming out of school. There's just 2 or 3 different factors that's keeping them either renting an apartment or living with their parents. So that's also a factor.
Yeah, my colleague and buddy, Graham Howerton, who runs our multifamily business, talks about that all the time. He's right there with that, and the facts bear it out. Although I will add, on the new home building side, I mean, if you look at where it's hot, you look at Dallas, you look at Houston, Northern California, San Francisco, that's where the jobs are, too. Where the job growth is there. Yeah. You go out to Texas, those fellas, they're rocking and rolling. So where that's in place, it's happening.
And let's go back just a second on the whole mortgage thing. It's more difficult to get a mortgage post-recession than it was pre-recession, right?
No question about it. But I tell you, as we think about it, we do think the big pieces are in place for a sustained recovery, and we're very bullish. There's a lot of hot markets out there. I think that will grow. It's really, we're talking about the pace and the longevity more than the macro issues. I mean, foreclosures are down. Look at Phoenix, they had 50,000. Now they got less than 5,000. That's a big deal. Inventory. There's a lot of positives out there. We're very bullish on the builder space. And hopefully, because it's a little slower in nationally than might have been projected, maybe that means that it lasts a little longer. Yeah. That's how we're choosing to think about it.
Yeah. All right, well, listen, since you spend day to day in this space, anything changing as far as the type of flooring that's going into these new homes?
Nothing since we last talked. I mean, it's hard surface, that's growing. We see that trend continuing. Pressure on lower end soft surface, obviously on price point basis. The bigger thing I'd bring up is probably not the product trend as much as labor availability. That's a toughie in the hot markets we talk about now. Really, that's a national issue. That's tough, but it also brings perhaps a little more pricing power than we've had historically as that tightens up. So it's not without some silver lining as well, but we do need more craftsmen that are qualified and more throughput in that space.
Well, listen, you've got a meeting coming up that I'm going to, and I'm excited about it at Lake Tahoe. Fill us in a little bit about what you're doing there.
Yeah, our national conference, we have one a year each fall, and it kind of varies in the window based on the climate of where we're going. So we're excited to be going to really one of the most incredible spots we have in the United States, Lake Tahoe, beautiful alpine lake surrounded by those mountains. We're going the week after Labor Day. So all the summer riffraff is out of there, but the days are beautiful, bright sunshine and warm. The nights are cool. It's going to be a great place to gather the top group in flooring. We'll be out there for 3 days, and we're going to work really hard, and we're going to have fun too, as is our culture. But we've got some great outside speakers coming in to work through design center issues, to work through financial issues, to work on trends and generational trends even as well. So we've got a lot of great sessions on the docket to have a great conference, and we're fired up that it's almost here.
You know, I had to miss it last year. It was down in Baja, Mexico.
Cabo San Lucas, yes, every
right.
5 years. That's our favorite place. Our members love Cabo.
One of the things I remember from 2 years ago and the other times that I've been, you always have a run in the morning. I mean, it's a high energy group that not only do they want to sit in and learn from your speakers and from each other, but it's a real active group.
It is. I think that's because of the people that are involved in it. We'll start our meeting on our second day. We'll get rolling at 7:30, and we won't stop until 9:30, 10 o'clock that night. It's jam-packed with opportunities to network with your fellow members, to learn from outside experts, and we'll pack a little fun around that as well. That's the way we like to roll. That's the way our members like to roll, and it works for us. So we'll have our big trade show event. We'll have a little fishing and golfing in between, but Wednesday, the last day, literally goes from dawn till night. Solid, no break. We might give them a little bite to eat, but we are working on the issues of the day that impact our members' business and trying to help them get a little bit better.
I look forward to that meeting. Appreciate you talking to us about what's going on from your perspective with the builder market. So again, we've been talking to Jay Smith, who's president with Floor Expo, the FEI Group, and you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.